Hi Sagittarius, this is going to be your art channeled message. I channel messages through art, creativity. I really hope my messages inspire you to see the art within yourself, within your journey, and within everything around you, because everything is artistic, everything is symbolic, and we all start from zero, which is a blank canvas, as I always say. Just look at yourself and everything around you as art. Art starts as blank or zero, and then it gets beautiful, comes together each and every time or as you go. If you'd like a personal reading, all of that is down below. And lastly, there's no rules here. So if this finds you, it's definitely meant for you. It's not just the overall message, it's the underlying stuff too. It's like you can look at my art, and what's special about it is I kind of draw in like optical illusions, or it's like one thing connects to another, and it's completely unexpected. It's just I draw, I paint as I go. It's like it flows, kind of like automatic writing. So I want you to perceive, there's a reason I describe it as well, my art, my messages in that way. What I started drawing for you was a weird person that's slumped over with like a hunch in their back. The first thing that I heard, or that it reminded me of, was the Hunchback of Notre Dame, or Notre Dame. That man was deformed looking and spent most of his time in the tower. It's a classic case of being shunned for looking different or being different. Esmeralda was a gypsy dancer. Even though she could attract men effortlessly, I believe her role was also frowned upon. It's like she's hated for the very same thing they subconsciously love her for. I'm getting the very thing that you think people hate about you or look down at you for. This is very different than being hated because you're doing well or blah blah blah. It's more of like you feel like you're looked down for something, but it actually makes you more desirable and more seasoned, I want to say. There's a better word for it, multifaceted. I'm seeing hunchback too as shame. Like when someone has bad posture, it's usually an indicator of shame or low self-esteem. Being ashamed for who you are. Don't let anyone make you feel like that. I feel like it's a different thing for all of you though. It's exactly like how someone can hate you or be jealous of you, yet watch you, copy you, and follow in your footsteps. They like what you represent deep down, just not on you. There's this scene in Cinderella story when the girl's like, love the dress, hate her. Like, you guys have probably seen that movie, everyone has. But I was getting that quote in my head, love the dress, hate her. Or in Esmeralda's case, I'm sexually attracted to this person, but that's taboo, that's wrong. I'm going to treat you this way because society says this. Or it's against my beliefs, but deep down, I'm a sinner as well. I don't believe in that, but no one needs to know it. I'm just going to blame the thing that's making me feel this way. Does that make sense? It's like love on one side, hate on the other to cover it up. Once again, it's like a religious man that sins. He wants to do it, but we'll call it the devil tempting him. It's not me that actually wants this. It's always someone or something else's fault. With things like this, the conscience is like perceived as another. Another example of this would be how a guy or a girl is assertive or rude, and then the other person's like, I can't stand them, I don't like when they act like that, yet they continue to chase, they continue to want them even more. You hate it, but clearly you love it. Clearly you still want them after they acted that way, which is what I hate in people. It's like when you have a healthy self-esteem, you can stand on what you hate. You can stand on what you love. It's never love, hate. It's either hate, hate, or love, love. It's not, you can't do two sides. Hope that makes sense even further. It's like those enemies to lover tropes in movies too. Deep down, there's a soft spot for each other. They're just suppressing it out of ego, religion, morals, etc. They're not supposed to like that person. They're not supposed to feel attracted to them, but they are. Okay. Let's see where this takes us. It's like loved for the very thing you're hated for. Despair. Oh my god. And there's strong emphasis. The first thing that came to me was how he's at a hunch. Like the hunchback of Notre Dame. He was deformed looking. They saw him as that. They sort of saw him as nothing but the dirt on the bottom of their shoe. And this person, you could say, is struggling financially. They don't have a job. He's hunched over because he doesn't feel himself. So it's like you find it hard to believe that anyone would love this part of you because of the hate on the other end. But like I said, it's like the very thing you're hated for, you're loved for. So I think this alludes to, it's like even when you're down in the dumps, you still find a way to make it work. I'm seeing this as you right now. I'm getting like that saying, you'll do it hungry, you'll do it single, you'll do it lonely, you'll do it no matter what. And like they said, 3 and 2 is 5. Usually this indicates dark night of the soul. Dark night of the soul, everyone's been through it, sometimes several times. It usually leads to a much better result on the other side. We've even seen, I never noticed that before, all those people in there, I'm seeing this as being left out, being looked down upon. You're never invited to the party, whether metaphorically or literally. You're shunned, kind of like in those Disney movies, or where it takes place in the olden days, where like segregation and all that was, you know, same applies here. Okay, also getting the envisionment of Miley Cyrus, like back when she did that Can't Be Tamed video, or like all that Wrecking Ball stuff, that was barely anything compared to how people act now. Like people acted like she was like going into porn or something, which all she did was show a new side of herself. All she did was show a little skin and everyone's like going nuts. She got good reactions, but people also loved it. Let's see. So even though you might look at yourself like this, let's say I don't have enough money, I've never been that person, I've never really been rich in anything, you're viewed the opposite. Or they might look down on you for that, but what does that say about them? Somewhat, honestly, that's probably the moral of the story here. People are most likely to point that out, or they're most likely to target people like that because it reminds them of where they used to be. Kind of like how I said, a religious man wanting to go after something that's the devil or something that they're not supposed to do because it's sinful, it's not a part of their religion. They do it anyway because it's still a part of them. Five of Swords. Seeing this as someone's like literally collecting swords, it's like they're so happy that this person finally like gives up or chooses to walk away. It's like they drop the sword. That symbolizes a truce, or I'm not going to give like fuel to this or energy into this. I'm not interested in proving my worth or trying to show who I really am if you don't see it in the first place. Something about like collecting swords, collecting ammunition. That's what I want to say. It says a lot more about them. It's like when they're trying to collect ammunition or like point out everything that's wrong with a person. People only do that when they deep down there's some kind of like admiration. I hope this makes sense. Temperance, it's like a duality. It can't be love and hate. It has to be hate and hate, love and love. Stand on it. Honesty. Reminds me too of how someone can be perceived as a bitch, but if they're open about it, I love that. I love that because there's no catch. There's no keeping up appearances. You just say what needs to be said. There's no fake niceness. There's no, oh, I like this behind closed doors, but then in person, I don't know you. I'm gonna keep that out, actually. I'm seeing this as the tower, like hiding away in a tower. I feel like some of you actually might be like hiding yourselves away. Or you know how some people go into, I almost said solitary confinement. They go into hermit mode when they feel embarrassed about their financial situation. They might isolate from friends and family because they feel like they don't have money to go out. That's a good example. Or in his case, he had a hunchback. He was deformed. He was perceived as ugly. But not everyone saw him that way, or not everyone like put so much emphasis on that because they're not ugly on the inside. So there's just, stop hiding yourself away. I feel like a lot of you are actually like wanting to do that. Where there's a need for you to come out of hiding. Don't hide away in your darkest times. If anything, you have to like treat it as normal, as a part of you. King of Cups. This is interesting. I'm seeing the Nine of Swords of someone that's at war with themselves. It's like, which is it? Like I said. Usually this indicates a person that's in distress. And also at the other end towards you, I'm seeing this indicates it has this locked in a tower or locked in isolation type feel. And that's what the Hunchback of Notre Dame or Notre Dame was a part of. I only remember bits and pieces of that, but it's the same idea. It's kind of like, who else was stuck in the tower? Rapunzel? It's like there's this being forced into isolation or feeling like you're bound to one spot because you're so ashamed. Like Hunchback. There it is again, the posture. Posture can be seen in all of these cards. But to me, this indicates a more calm version of this. He's not in distress this time. And in the stained glass over here, in that art, he's sort of, it looks like a beggar. It looks like he's begging for mercy. It looks like he's below somebody. There's even a change in posture here. It looks like he's below the king. Oh my god, now I know. What do they call that? God complex? It's like usually the people that feel like they have a higher position in others. It's all like imagined. It's like an inflated sense of importance, but no one's actually checking for them. And usually those are the types of people, like I said, that feel the worst about themselves. Probably even more worse than you are. I'm sitting high, I'm sitting mighty, but it's all an act. Just like how their perception is towards others, that's how they are within their identity. Let me get one last card to finish this reading. Ooh, 5 of Pentacles. And the Hierophant. Looking at the one they frown upon reminds them of a spot that they used to be. Or something, it like scares them. It's like looking at a mirror. That's why they have to feel higher than others. Or so they think. And like I said, the very thing you're hated for is the very thing you're loved for. It's going to change very soon. It's almost like you're going to turn this into a success story. Or once again, like you need to come out of hiding. There's no need to be ashamed of it. Because the most powerful people don't have to tell everybody, you know? They don't have to be so arrogant. There's a lot of cards indicating like poverty or just overall discontent. Okay, Sagittarius, that's the end of this art channeled message. Please like, subscribe, support the channel in any way you can. I'd really, really, really appreciate it. And yeah. So a lot going on here. See ya.